Doora-Barefield are coming here as current champions from last year, and as we know in everybody's mind, when you're champions it's very, very hard to beat you. And I think, to be honest with it, if I had to pick a team today, I would be picking Doora-Barefield to win.
And there is, of course, that other factor, two other factors. First of all, it's the old Cork-Clare rivalry across the border to some degree, and also that disputed point in the semi-final last year.
That's right. I suppose there has been an awful lot made of the disputed point, but I think more Athenry have been making a point of that, and I think Doora-Barefield have just ignored it. I mean, they won their All-Ireland last year and they're not too worried about it. I think if Athenry win today, you know, it'll probably atone for last year's defeat, but if they get beaten today, I think it'll be the last time that you'll hear anything about the disputed point from last year.
If Athenry are to win today, a lot of people down in Galway would say so much depends on Joe Rabbit. He's the captain and he's the really pivotal player in the team.
He is. I think they have two very, very good forwards, and Eugene Cloonan as well is a great forward. If Athenry are to win today, Joe Rabbit is playing a wing forward. I would presume that 80% of the puck outs will be aimed towards him. Shawnee McMahon's a fabulous centre back for Doora-Barefield. You could see a change there. I suppose Athenry will play an awful lot of the ball down towards Joe Rabbit. Hopefully, and today is his day. He's captain, big responsibility on his shoulders today. Himself and Cloonan could be the key.
Well, it all remains to be seen. We will, of course, be considering that football final later on in the programme, but right now it's very much hurling. And for hurling commentary, it's Ger Canning.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. And here come Athenry. As you can see, they've had to change the strip this afternoon. Traditionally, they wear maroon, and St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield are also in maroon. So today, Joe Rabbit is to be seen in what is essentially the Connacht colours, I suppose. But there is maroon, as you can see, on the jerseys, on the shorts. And there they are, lining up for the team photograph on this wonderful day for club hurlers and footballers. The cream of the top, rising to the top as St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield make their way out. Big cheer for them as well. And they get a really big ovation. So they're in the blue this afternoon. And there is Greg Baker, brother, of course, of Ollie, as they line up for their team photographs to be taken. Unquestionably the top two club hurling teams in the country in action here. So the crowd still coming in. 35,000 seats, I believe, have been sold. So all the tickets have been snapped up, and there you see the newsstand, the new Cusack stand. And that, I'm certain, will be full to capacity a little bit later on, down onto Hill 16, and the Nally stand is also open today for business. So let's have a look now at the teams. We'll start with Athenry, and it's remarkable how few things change at club level. There's only one change in personnel for Athenry from the team that started the All-Ireland final 3 years ago. Michael Crimmins, Jerry Kane and Brian Feeney provide great solidity down the middle of the back line. Brendan Keogh is joined in midfield by Brian Hanley in the centre field area. And the change in the forward line sees David Donoghue take the number 15 shirt alongside the Moran brothers, Pat Higgins and Joe Rabbit, and leading scorer, of course, Eugene Cloonan. And Eugene's grandfather, John Willie Cloonan, is going to be watching on the TV back at home in Athenry to see how his grandson does this afternoon as the teams commence the parade. St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield selected the same 15 as started in last year's final. Sports journalist Christy O'Connor is in goal for them. The Hoey brothers are bound to be prominent among the backs of the company of Clare star Sean McMahon. There's the usual midfield pairing, Ollie Baker and Joe Considine. While in the attack, the big hitters are Jamesy O'Connor and Lorcan Hassett, the team captain. Between them, they scored a goal and 9 points last year. The big doubt surrounded Andrew Whelan. He's got hamstring trouble. His leg is bandaged up somewhat, but he does start the match. So, Doora-Barefield, the Clare, the Munster champions, in the blue this afternoon, up against Athenry. They met at the semi-final, as you heard, in last year's club championship down in Semple Stadium in Thurles. But today, it's their day, the day that every club player aspires to play in Croke Park and to play in the All-Ireland final for your own club. A parish against a town in a way in the hurling final. And you think the maroon and white can be confusing, trying to see who is St. Joseph Doora-Barefield, who's a St. Mary's of Athenry supporter. Well, when you take into the equation the fact that at third side, Cushion Dáil, who did so well in the semi-final this year, they're also playing in maroon and white. And the other side, lest we forget them, of course, Burr, fancied by so many, but Athenry went there and did the business. I'm sure there must have been thoughts in the minds of the GAA hierarchy to switch this particular set of matches, the club hurling and football finals, out of Croke Park this year because of the restructuring and the building that's still going on here. But the players will tell you, if you speak to them, well, we want to play in Croke Park. I might never get the chance again, is what they're saying, and this is their day, so let's wish them every possible success. So the two areas of the ground that are open, of course, that wonderful stand over there, and then you can see that what was the canal end is still taking shape. The Hogan stand, where we're working from this afternoon, well, it used to be. We're up here in what was the Ord Corley section. It's now very much a building site, so it's got a very strange feeling, and I must say it's probably the strangest feeling I've ever had working in a major match at Croke Park. This is the background, as it were, and so many cranes, so much industry going on here, so much building. Just a tiny bit behind schedule, but they hope to have the lower section of the new Hogan ready for the All-Ireland Series. That's the Senior Inter-County All-Ireland Series in September. The referee this afternoon is Michael Wadding from Waterford. It's a big occasion for him. It's the 30th All-Ireland Club Hurling Final. A Clare team in the final for the 4th time in 5 years, but just 2 Clare wins, 6 Mile Bridge in '96, and of course St. Joseph's last year. Last words of encouragement there for the Doora-Barefield from Michael Clossy, their manager, and Louis Mulqueen, the trainer, as well. Louis, of course, is now part of the backroom team in the Clare Seniors setup, along with Ger Loughnane. The wind in the first half is going to favour Doora-Barefield. Fresh enough breeze. And you may have thought that the wind was a bit contrary in the past. Well, it's particularly contrary now because of the large gaps at this side of the ground, blowing right across. And Michael Wadding gets the AIB Club Hurling Final underway straight away. There's a free for Doora-Barefield, and Sean McMahon will come up to take this one. It was Doora-Barefield who got the opening 2 points in the semi-final meeting of the same clubs last year. Sean got one of those 2. 65 metres out, hits it, and he has struck it beautifully. The opening score. So that huge free from Sean McMahon, a little bit wind assisted, and St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield take the lead. Michael Crimmins is the goalkeeper for Athenry. Cross towards Joe Rabbit, as anticipated. He's favouring him with the puck outs, and he's won the first one that's come in there. There was a wild blow then after that. So a great catch by Rabbit. So a free for each team and a chance for Athenry to draw level here. Well, they're bringing out Eugene Clunan. Hit 9 points in the 79 club final, scored 2-3 against Burr. Great young talent. Can he point it? He's putting it over the bar. So 2 frees taken in the match, 1 per team, and Eugene Clunan has levelled up the game. Well, Eugene Clunan, of course, at one stage when he was only a minor, played with the under-21s for Galway. I remember in an All-Ireland final, he played in goal. Christy O'Connor's puck out, a long one, beautifully collected. Sean McMahon delivering it again towards Joe Rabbit's side of the field, kept in play. The pitch has been realigned somewhat, so when the play goes across to the other side of the field, there's part of that particular bit of the pitch that has never been played on before. James O'Connor was trying to make some headway there, stopped, however, by Eamon Keogh. Here's Dara O'Driscoll. And they try to free up Andrew Whelan. No real hint of an injury there, but he's been able to train for the last couple of weeks. Michael Crimmins with a good catch. Again, it's towards Joe Rabbit. Joe Considine was there alongside him for Doora-Barefield. This is Considine. Had to go off injured in last year's match, having made a very valuable contribution. Lorcan Hassett played really well in last year's final. This is gathered in here by John Feeney, brother of Brian. So many brothers playing in both teams this afternoon. Here's Ger Hoey, his brother David's number 5. A little bit of pushing and shoving, but it's going to be a free downfield for St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. Once again, they bring Sean McMahon, their long-range free taker, out to take this. Just inside his own 65-metre line this time. You can see just how close the sideline is to the perimeter of the pitch. That's another beauty. Another lovely point by Sean McMahon. So all the scores coming from frees, and all of them converted thus far. The McMahon family, of course, steeped in the Doora-Barefield club. Father, a leading figure in the club. Cathal Moran was trying to make some headway. He was the one who scored the point that wasn't in the semi-final, that's still talked about, and not just by the media. So another free for the free taker. An easier one this time for Eugene Clunan. Christy O'Connor giving the instructions, and Clunan floating it over the bar. I'm sure that delighted one of their great fans, Matt Toole, back in Athenry, because it's 2 points apiece. Two very, very well-prepared teams. Athenry at one stage, just after they recommenced training on the 3rd of January, went 15 nights out of 18 training. And they had 2 matches over 2 weekends. A match on a Saturday, a match on a Sunday, followed by the same routine the following weekend. And this time there's a bit of holding by Eugene Clunan on the full-back, who was Donal Cahill. Donal's been a major success in recent years. So they're going to bring the goalkeeper out to hit this one. He was a real hero when the same 2 teams met in Thurles 12 months ago. That's a big one. And reacting quickest of all back there is Brian Higgins. Brian, the 23-year-old. Real race for possession here. Good work by Ger Hoey, but just holding up the point of the attack. Pat Higgins, great block down that time by Sean McMahon, and that's going to be a line ball for Athenry. That's some great skill illustrated in that last little piece of play. This is Pat Higgins coming forward here, and watch for the timing of the block. Superb. And the follow-up action. Well, it's 3 points to 2. Well, Joe Considine is the one who gets the credit for that last point there for St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. Considine kicked away in the end there by Brian Higgins. Dara O'Driscoll floating it in there towards Lorcan Hassett. Considine getting it forward. Here's Ollie Baker. Lovely ball into play. Noel Brodie going low to pick this one. Difficult one for Lorcan Hassett, who seems to have switched with Jamesy O'Connor in the early stages of this match. James is now left half forward. Still, they come through on another point. Beautiful score there, hit over the bar by David Hoey, man of the match in last year's final. His first point of the day, making it 4 points to 2. Well, a really fast start to this match. Most scoring opportunities availed up so far. Good play there by Donal Cahill. Just stayed back, but runs into a little bit of trouble now. This is a great chance here. Clunan! It was a wonderful opportunity. He was lying in isolation for just a moment. going through the agony of the damned, it seemed, cursing his luck, but look at the amount of space he was given. A rasping shot. Keeper might well have covered it, of course, but it was still a very good opportunity. So a let off for Christy O'Connor. Tapped back down there by Donal Moran. David Hoy floating it in here towards Andrew Whelan. Ollie Baker, the Clare star, completely unmarked. Very good chance, and he doesn't make mistakes with efforts like that. His first point in this match, but he was given far, far too much latitude. Well, here was Ollie Baker. Brendan Keogh was on his knees, nowhere near this man. And that was a good 50 metres out. Joe Rabbit was endeavouring to keep the ball in. And a replacement slitter is required because that is rolled out over the fencing here, down into the building site. So it's going to be Dara O'Driscoll to hit this one. Won an All-Ireland minor medal with Clare in '97. Ollie Baker, good ground stroke into the corner. Back there doing well, however, Sean McMahon. Brian Handley now here. An important catch which is missed by Ken Kennedy. He was fortunate that Donald Cahill was in there to help out. Now Joe Considine. Sean McMahon. This, of course, a 60-minute match, unlike the league matches we've been watching lately, which are played over 70. Foul over there results in a free in. So the champions, the defending champions, with a 3-point lead. And that's the face of Eugene Clunan.
Cat, into square. What's your dropping goal? What's your dropping?
Back at a ground where he scored 2-10 against Clare in the replay quarter-final last year of the All-Ireland Series.
All right, right ball.
And the Clare men are encouraging the umpire to wave it wide. I think it had gone wide in any case. No protest from Eugene. So now the crowd building up here the whole time. Football decider yet to come. Cross McGlen against Nafiana. That's a 20-4. And there was a bit of pushing just before that ball came in the direction of Brian Hanley. Brian, whose mother Noreen is part of the medical backup team. Yes, there was a little tangle. And appeals by Brian Handley that was all very accidental. They were looking up into the air, the legs seemed to just connect. So Sean McMahon has come out to hit this one. Well within his range. 53 or 4 metres out. And that's got over the bar. 3 efforts now by Sean McMahon, and that's 3 long-range points, and it's 6 points to 3. Michael Crimmins, this time driving it straight down the middle towards Brendan Keogh, hoping to make a big impact in midfield. That's hand passed away by David Hoey to Jamesy O'Connor. One of the great stylists of modern-day hurling, needing a bit of assistance. He was being bottled up. That's Paul Hardyman trying to get the ball away. Paul was 29 years of age. Ollie Baker swinging it in towards top of the left. Nobody there for it. Eamon Keogh, brother Brendan, his clearance not a good one. Straight as far as Jamesy O'Connor, and it tails to the left. Right in our line of vision here, you can see that was just always going outside. Jamesy has scored 40 points in all in 7 major matches up to now in Croke Park. Sean McMahon rising up for that one. getting the better of Donal Moran. Brian Hanley again. A real towering figure in midfield. Good ball inside towards Cloonan. But Cloonan unable to take it first time. And that's away by Donald Cahill to Jamesy O'Connor. Brendan Keogh chasing after him. McMahon was coming out. And Jamesy O'Connor hitting this one, and it's just inside and it's over the bar. Just got there ahead of Brian Feeney to score his first point of the match. 4 points between them. Joe Rabbit. It's away by Dara O'Driscoll that time. Here comes Brian Feeney. Brian adjudged to have taken too many steps. So once again, Doora-Barefield, the Clare and Munster champions, bring Sean McMahon forward. That's his own 65-metre line. Again, another huge one. Right between the posts. Well, any silly fouls that have been given away now, there's no doubt in the world about it. Sean McMahon is punishing the opposition and punishing them dearly. Joe Rabbit. So 8 points to 2 as Joe Rabbit hits that one and it goes over the bar. His first point, the team captain this afternoon for Athenry, making it 8-3. This is Rabbit going through once again. Joe Considine there trying to get possession along with Lorcan Hassett. Joe Rabbit has had some disappointing moments here in Croke Park over the years, and this is one he's really hoping to see result in his side taking home the famous cup, the Tommy Moore Cup. Sean McMahon has 4 points so far in the game, all of them from frees. And that time it is wide. Plenty of encouragement from the Athenry players to the umpire to wave his arms. The one that got away. Pat Higgins reaching up for that one there with Sean McMahon. Player on the ground picking himself as Ger Hoy. And that'll be a free for Doora-Barefield. Doora-Barefield, who had a pretty easy win last year against a very much out of sorts Rathnure team. McMahon with the free. Down towards Kieran O'Neill. And he's put this one wide. Might have dropped it into the inside forward line. Plenty of possibilities in that inside forward line. I know most of the limelight where Doora-Barefield is concerned tends to centre around Sean McMahon, Ollie Baker and Jamesy O'Connor, but a lot of quality players there. Rabbit again, this time getting inside the wing back. But Ollie Baker goes back to help Dara O'Driscoll. Kicked ahead here by Jamesy O'Connor. John Feeney's chasing after him. Jamesy with the angled shot. And that has gone over the bar. Jamesy's got a second point for Doora-Barefield here. 9 points to 3. Although there seems to be some confusion between the score we're putting on the scoreboard and the score in the stadium itself. We'll try and clarify that for you as Ollie Baker pleads his case with Michael Wadding. So Ollie given a lecture to there by the Waterford-based referee. And that's the first yellow card of the match. Ollie, who's a guard in Ballinasloe, County Galway. Well, the score they have put up here in the stadium is 8 points to 4 in favour of St. Joseph's. Still some attention being given there to the injured player. There's Brian Hanley, and that's his mother they're attending to him, Noreen Hanley. They've also got the assistance of Dr. Ian O'Connor and Colm Flynn, long-time Clare physio. Well, this was Brian Hanley being charged really by Ollie Baker. The referee said foul and sufficiently serious to merit a card. Well, Brian Hanley, a real towering figure, much more consistent of late, but he's okay once again. He was taken off in the final 3 years ago, I seem to remember. He was playing left half forward that day. So all of this results in a free to Athenry. They've brought out Eugene Cloonan to strike it between the posts for his 3rd point of the match. All of them coming from frees. Well, he's playing his part so far, but they need a much greater spread of scores. Only 1 point from play for Athenry so far in the match. James O'Connor trying to fight this one in towards Andrew Whelan. Some difficulty getting the ball away there by the fullback, who's Jerry Kane, great servant of the club down the years. Paul Hardyman on his hands and knees. In the end, driven away out of that back line. That's returned there with interest by Joe Considine. A little bit of a fumble there by Donald Moran. But Moran gets it back. Brother of Cahill, the number 13. It's in towards Eugene Cloonan. Cloonan there against Donald Cahill. Cloonan going forward, goalkeeper coming out. Good save by Christy O'Connor. Kept his eye on it the whole time. And a very sensible clearance way downfield, taking loads of pressure off his own backline, as that is grabbed there by Brian Higgins. He's fouled. The score at the moment, as you can see, St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield 8 points, Athenry 5. So just 3 points between the teams. The defending champions are in the lead. And here they come again, the team playing in blue this afternoon. Darragh O'Driscoll towards Jamesy O'Connor, taking it away to that right-hand side. Brian Hanley trying to close him, and it's Jamesy driving. It comes back off the stick or the post, and it goes out over the end line, and it's gone there for the first 65 of the match. So Michael Crimmins forced to touch it out with his stick. That's PJ Malloy, of course. PJ part of the backroom team, along with Pat Nally, of course, the team manager. Now Sean McMahon, looking for another point for Doora-Barefield, giving it plenty of elevation, plenty of accuracy as well. And this first 65 of the match has been pointed by McMahon. So now it's 9 points to 5. Joe Rabbit trying to push players out of his way, but Ollie Baker sticks to his guns, goes back, showing fine commitment. Great poise as well, in behind Andrew Whelan, who switched across there with Greg Baker. Cleared away there by Jerry Kane. Lovely darting run. Good change of direction here by Donald Moran. And Moran's shot lands over the bar. One of the best points of the match so far by Donald Moran. St. Mary's Athenry getting to within 3 points of St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield. James O'Connor dispossessed. Good play here by Paul Hardyman. They've met, of course, before at inter-county level. Donald Cahill going across there, trying to dispossess. Well, he gave a little push, I think, on Eugene Cloonan. Cloonan was protesting, but I think he's getting himself his free. Shake of the head by Cahill. And another chance for a point for Eugene Cloonan. So far in the match, 8 points coming from frees. And now there's a 9th, and it's a 4th for Eugene Cloonan. And he has now made it 9-7. Two sides have got a great send-off in the last 24 hours by their respective parishes and towns. Town in the case of Athenry. Passionate supporters about their hurling. And this is the biggest day of the club championship. And everybody wants to be here, if at all possible, to cheer on your local team. And of course, this year, all 4 provinces represented in the final pairings. Eamon coming back here is Ken Kennedy. Eamon Keogh under this one once again, needing a bit of assistance from John Feeney. And this is John taking the ball away out as far as Brian Feeney, his brother. John went on the ground, he's still on the ground. Appeals from the Athenry fans as play continues up towards Eugene Cloonan. In there as well, waiting for a Joe Rabbit. Well, let's hope that heads remain nice and cool here as Donald Cahill was trying to get Joe Rabbit back onto his feet again. And the linesman, Pat Ahern, here has come in, Pat from Carlow, to, I think, talk about that. That is where Greg Baker seemed to run into John Feeney. Feeney is still receiving attention. And certainly the Athenry fans felt that was blatant and deliberate. So there's going to be a card for Greg Baker. Referee's already given his brother Ollie a yellow card. So the Baker brothers have been warned. Greg Baker, who is an older brother of Ollie at 26, also a guard. He's based in the training headquarters at Templemore. Joe Rabbit, who had a horrific injury in a Connacht final a couple of years ago, match against Roscommon. He's had lots and lots of injuries, facial and hand injuries over the years, but he's been a very brave and committed player and played many times through the pain barrier. Back up on his feet again, the big man. Referee will restart this by throwing the ball in there. Sean McMahon was involved for Doora-Barefield. It comes out as far as Joe Considine. Lorcan has it going low for it, misses it however completely. Not so Brian Feeney for Athenry. They come forward again, and it's Eugene Cloonan taking Donald Cahill way out of position. The angle shot, and in spite of the best efforts of Eugene Cloonan, it just goes right of the posts. But he's very willing indeed to go out the field there, take up good positions, drag the fullback away from the goal area and try his luck. All his points so far, Cloonan, coming from frees. He's got 4 from frees, Sean McMahon's got 5. Paul Hardiman in there, along with Brian Feeney. Here's Kieran O'Neill, he got a goal in last year's match just before half-time against Athenry, the number 14. Back there to help out is Brendan Keogh towards Donald Moran. Paul Hardiman is taking it away, but the referee has whistled. Joe Considine's on the ground. Seemed to get a blow to the leg. So once again, medical attention is required. Michael Wadding has been busy so far in this match and shown us that he's not afraid to take players' names. That is the manager of St Joseph's Doora-Barefield, Michael Clohessy, sharing the responsibilities with Louis Mulqueen, Fergus McDonough and Tom Duggan. Considine back on the feet. So play can continue with a free. It's going to be Jamesy O'Connor who's about to take this one. Jamesy with 2 points from play so far in the match. And this one has gone well to the right. He's a little disgusted, I think, with that, but it's still a 2-point game. Michael Crimmins pucking it out. Just about 2 minutes to go to half-time, plus injury time. Ollie Baker trying to belt it downfield. Joe Considine snapping that one away. Down by Darragh O'Driscoll. Picked up here by Lorcan Hassett. Lorcan, the team captain of Doora-Barefield. And their pitch, of course, is just out, a couple of miles out from Ennis on the Tulla Road. Sponsored, as you see, by an engineering firm. In fact, that particular engineering firm is owned by Andrew Whelan's dad, Andrew number 15. Low trajectory this time towards Joe Rabbit, but Joe Rabbit has switched positions. That's Jamesy O'Connor. Cross towards Andrew Whelan, trying to get inside Eamon Keogh that time. Didn't succeed, however. Brendan Keogh, number 8, in the white helmet. Old Brody trying to get the stick to that. Still they're trying to get the ball away towards Donald Moran. Finally the completed clearance up into the inside forward line. Touchdown by Eugene Cloonan. Players trying to pick it up. Cahill Moore in there, whipped away by Donald Cahill. Into the final minute of the first half. Doora-Barefield 9, Athenry 7, as you can see. And Jamesy O'Connor for Doora-Barefield trying to stretch the lead just before the break, but that was again off target. Well, this man will be so vital to Ger Loughnane's hopes of winning back the Munster title in this coming season. Clare will be one of the big fancied sides. Michael Crimmins. Oh, Rabbit makes another fine catch from the puck out. Every time they target him on this side, he seems to win it. And that's back to Brian Hanley. Under pressure, he drops it and drops it over the bar. Great point by Brian Hanley. And all of that from a puck out by Michael Crimmins. A wonderful catch by Joe Rabbit. Good vision to spot Brian Hanley. And a very fine strike. And now the minimum in it. Brian Hanley's first point. Christy O'Connor pucking it out. The defending champions just leading by a point. Jamesy O'Connor going across, got a belt to the legs. Appeals from Brian Feeney. Well, the dressing rooms they'll be heading into at half-time are new temporary dressing rooms that are under the stand, which is being created up on the right-hand side at the canal end, the old canal end, and it's right over on the right-hand side of that stand, so the goalkeeper, in this case Michael Crimmins, will have a long run to the dressing room. As Doora-Barefield get it back again. David Hoey, just about held onto there by Noel Brody, but Brendan Keogh was in quickly to tackle him, and here's Paul Hardyman, the Galway inter-county player against a Clare inter-county man. Well, Donald Moran was hoping to take that one cleanly, but it's a huge one from way out the field, and that's gone over the bar. What an amazing point. And once again, it is Brian Hanley who does it. A second point by the midfielder, and he's levelled up the game. Ollie Baker is looking for attention. Seems to be a hand injury. But it's beautifully poised now. It's a facial injury indeed. This is where Brian Hanley got the ball back at the second time of asking. He was a huge distance out, right in the middle of the field, and it dropped beautifully over the bar, the equaliser. So Ollie really has been in the wars, battle scarred, and that'll require perhaps a stitch at half-time. And the break coming up presently. We've already played 2 minutes of injury time. So is there another scoring chance in this first half? Kicked ahead there by Brian Higgins out over the sideline. Ollie has been very much part of the hurling scene since bursting onto that scene back in 1995 in Limerick. Scored the winning point that day for Clare against Cork. The pick-up there was by Greg Baker. He was fouled. So a late scoring chance for Jamesy O'Connor, perhaps, just to give the champions a slight lead going in at the break. This is just outside the 45-metre line. He hits it well, but it's stopped by Michael Crimmins. Didn't quite have enough length or elevation. Joe Considine. But Dunphy over there, the linesman signalling that it's going to be an Athenry ball. Brendan Keogh ready to take it. It's been an interesting contest so far, but you feel there's an awful lot more in both these teams. A lot of the points coming from frees. 5 for Sean McMahon, 4 for Eugene Cloonan. Ollie Baker going in, may need a little bit of attention for that injury to the forehead. But the crowd here have seen a pretty intriguing first half. And they're level at the break. It's Athenry the champions 9, St Joseph's Doora-Barefield 9, or rather Athenry the 97 champions 9, Doora-Barefield the current champions 9. So let's have a look at some of the scores from this first half. That was Jamesy O'Connor. That was a beauty. One of those really nice points. Jamesy in full flight. And then this was Brian Hanley. And what a boomer that one was from way out the field. A huge point. Applauded by Eugene Cloonan. Well, the sides finished strongly there. Both teams having chances, but they're level at the break as we go down to Marty.
Thank you very much, Chair. Michael Clossy, manager of St Joseph's Doora-Barefield. Are you happy with your first half performance?
No, Marty. Overall play, we haven't been too bad, but we've missed a lot of scores. Especially the wind seems to be pulling it into the Hill 16 end. We've shot a lot of wides. We've got a good start, but it's there. It's 9 points each and everything to play for, I think, second half.
Athenry fought back very well, despite a poor start by them.
They did, yeah, but you know, if we'd taken half our scores, we could be, you know, 4 or 5 points up. We should be that up at this stage. It's going to be down to the wire, I think, the second half.
Any changes expected?
I'd say you'd see 1 or 2 in Doora-Barefield before this day's out.
Okay. Mike Clossy, thank you very much indeed. And we go straight to the break.
Yeah, so the first half of hurling that had promised so much for St Joseph's of Doora-Barefield. They could have been 6-7 points up at half-time, but as it stands, 9 points apiece. Athenry stayed in with a great chance. I'm sure that Mark Landers, the Cork hurling captain, would agree with at least some of that. I mean, Joseph's were the better team in the first half. Let's not have any doubt about it. But they have it all to do now still.
That's right, Michael. They've had an awful lot of the play in the first half, but they've also had the wind advantage in the first half. There's a number of scores that probably went wide, and I think 2 frees that Jamesy O'Connor missed in the first half could have a big bearing on the game here today.
We thought, looking at that first half, the way Athenry were going for a while, they might need one of these special goals from their full forward, Eugene Cloonan. Didn't come, but he had a chance.
That's right, Michael. This actually happened very early in the game. A long ball in from their corner forward. Fell to Cloonan. I suppose, in fairness, he probably should have done better. He should definitely got the ball on target and made Christy O'Connor save it, but he didn't. But, you know, the other chances that win and lose games for you.
Look at it from a different angle. I suppose he had to take a snap at it, didn't that?
He did, but I suppose he could have tapped the ball over the bar, but I suppose those chances only come very fast, and you have to split decision to take it, you know.
We mentioned the frees that Jamesy missed there towards the end of the half, but in fact he's always, of course, a danger out there, and he did score 2 from play.
He did, that's right. He started actually very slow into the game, and Brian Feeney is having a huge influence on the game. But Jamesy O'Connor's picked up 2 scores in the first half. I think particularly one of them, he picked it up down the left-hand side in front of the Hogan stand, which is now gone. Yeah. But I mean, this has been a hallmark of Jamesy O'Connor. If you go back to the 97 final against Tipperary, he scored one identical that won the All-Ireland for him. A terrific score by Jamesy, in fairness.
Jamesy O'Connor always good for a point or two like that, isn't he? This is another one he got.
That's right, yeah. Here, this is a hallmark Jamesy O'Connor score, in fairness. Fabulous score.
So Jamesy O'Connor getting 2 on the scoreboard then for St Joseph's. But on the other side, Brian Hanley, the St Mary's midfielder, scored 3 fabulous points in that first half.
That's right, yeah. I suppose he'll be very, very happy with himself at half-time. He's marking Ali Baker, who has scored a point himself, but in fairness to Mr Henley, he's after getting 3 points today, and he'll be very, very happy with the first half performance.
Well, a score like that, they're the kind of inspirational scores that a team actually really, Athenry, needed in that first half, didn't they?
They did, yeah. I mean, it was a case of hanging in there. St Joseph had an awful lot of the play. I think one outstanding factor for me in the first half has been the concession of a lot of easy frees. I mean, there's been no decent free given away today. Maybe Ali Baker's one that he got booked for, but a lot of the easy frees. And I mean, if you give a free taker like Shawnee McMahon a scoring chance within 100 yards, he's going to put it over the bar.
We were expecting something of a hurling classic out of this. It hasn't quite lived up to that.
It has. Well, the game has been good enough, but I think there's a lack of atmosphere outside of today, and I think some of that might be coming from the fact that the Hogan stand is gone, you know.
Yeah. It does look kind of weird out there, doesn't it? Looking out.
It's very, very strange. But I suppose, in fairness, I mean, any player going out there today, the only thing that should concern them is what's happening inside the 4 white lines today, and you know.
Well, this is it. I suppose that's where it's played, isn't it? For the moment, Mark, we just want to go back to Marty Morrissey. He has somebody to talk to.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, indeed, it's a very busy weekend here in Croke Park for the clubs. It's the big weekend for them, and it's not just today but tomorrow as well, because it's Law, Slogan and Club on here in Croke Park tomorrow. With me now is the incoming president, Mr. Sean McCaig. A big day indeed in Croke Park again tomorrow.
Oh yes, we're expecting over 600 delegates from the clubs here tomorrow. It's going to be a great day for them, a recognition of the great work that they're doing at club level, and an education for them in the context of what's happening here at central level. They will be addressed by the president, they will have a tour of the new facilities, and they will have 6 or 7 workshops in which they will be able to see firsthand the workings and the human face of the personnel in Croke Park.
This is the core of the GAA though, the club, and developing it so that we can have this spectacle here today.
Absolutely. I think today's final and this weekend generally is dedicated to the club. The club finals today, the Law, Slogan and Club tomorrow. Sunday is designated club day for club activity within the counties. So it's a recognition by the association that the clubs are genuinely the bedrock of the association, and we recognise the wonderful work that's being done, and it's a tribute to them that tomorrow is this a special day for them here in Croke Park.
Well, I'm sure everybody will be looking forward to it, and indeed we look forward to the rest of today. Thank you, Sean McCaig.
Thank you, Marty.
We'll go back to Michael Lester back in the studio.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
I'll try and do an impression of Michael Lester. He's somewhere down in the studio. We're waiting for the teams to come back out and join us once again for the second half of the game. But I was just saying during the first half that the new dressing rooms for the hurlers are located way down on the right-hand side, very close to where the teams used to come out in the old days. And they've got to make their way all the way up along the passageway underneath what was the canal end, and then out onto the field. And it's a field which has changed shape ever so slightly. It's been realigned, as I say, and the perimeter there is much closer to the sideline than used to be the case. So it's almost a completely full new stand this afternoon. I believe something like 35,000 tickets in all were sold for today's match. They put a new roof on the Nally stand as well, as you can see down there. And then this is what's happening over here in what will be the new Hogan stand. Magnificent work going on. And that wall there, just in the front of the new stand, that's almost complete. And as I say, they're very nearly on schedule. And the plan is to have seating available at the lower end of the Hogan stand for this year's All-Ireland finals. And no doubt about it, it will be quite magnificent when it's all finished. It must be difficult in a way for the builders. I suppose they had to stop their building yesterday around lunchtime in order that the various fences and so on could be erected around the ground and remove it from being a building site to a sports fixture once again, a sports venue once again. But so many people are just waiting to see the whole thing completed. It really is a great credit to the GAA authorities, led by Liam Mulvihill, and of course their presidents as well in recent times, who've decided to invest in their future, as it were, and give these players at club level, inter-county level, the opportunity to come here and play in one of the great sports arenas. So St Joseph's Doora-Barefield back out first, hoping to defend their title. As I mentioned, Sean McMahon got 5 of their points, all of them from frees. James O'Connor got the 2 points as well. But they've yet to get scores out of people like Lorcan Hassett, who was such an amazing success in last year's final, scoring a goal and 5 against Rathnewer. Brian Hanley, as you correctly heard there, got 3 points during that first half. One of the points I don't think I credited him with, but it definitely is 3 now. I think we were looking at something in reprise when he hit one over the bar. And so, there is the midfield player himself, forming an alliance along with Brendan Coe. So 30 minutes to play. And it's going to be Athenry now who'll have the breeze at their backs, playing down in towards Hill 16. If you've joined us late, because of the similarity of colours they play in at club level in the respective counties, they've changed their strip for this. It's 9 points apiece. In the white, Athenry; in the blue, St Joseph's from Doora-Barefield. Michael Wadding is the referee. He's from Waterford. So who's going to take the title in this, the 30th ever final? The All-Ireland Club Series, second half underway. Straight away, it is Noel Considine. James O'Connor now towards Andrew Whelan. Getting out there first to the ball, however, was Eamon Keogh. Knocked away in the end by Brian Feeney, the Galway fullback, playing centre half back today. This is Pat Higgins. A darting run through the centre. Considine chops him down, however, and it's going to be a free in. So an opportunity, and an early one at that, for Eugene Clunan to pop this one over the bar and give Athenry the lead. They were being led for, I think, just about all of the first half so far, but here's their chance now to steal in front. It should be an easy one for Clunan, and indeed it is. There's his 5th point now. And Athenry lead by 10-9. Well, they'll be hoping to get players like David Donoghue and Cathal Moran into the action a little bit more during this second half. That's Brian Feeney going up there. Magnificent work by the centre half back. Towards Pat Higgins, being challenged there by Sean McMahon. One-handed away, however. And Ken Kennedy was unable to get it away as clearly as he would. Here's David Hoey. Cross towards the left half forward, who is beaten for it this time. Brian Higgins getting it away. Now they move forward once again. It's Donald Moran for Athenry. Moran's shot is a good one, and that's over the bar. Really rallying his team here as Athenry have made the best possible start to the second half. 2 points without reply, and they've got a 2-point lead. Now Donald Moran came on as a second half sub in the win over Burr. Held his place. And pressure again here. Lorcan Hassett trying to get the ball forward. Ollie Baker. Baker knocking it in there towards Kieran O'Neill. It's caught instead there by Greg Baker. And that ball's gone wide. It was a chance for Doora-Barefield to get their first score of the second half. But early stages, he's got an injury, a knock to the top of the head, I think. And the referee's going to stop the match so that he can be given medical attention. Well, he had his opportunity to get his first score in the game. Dr. Conor Fanning is the doctor for Doora-Barefield. There's Louis Mulqueen there in the background, the team trainer. Has done wonderful work at schools level, at club level, and now looking forward to the challenge with Clare, of course, in the Munster and perhaps All-Ireland Championship this year. Louis had a couple of words there, as you saw, for John Feeney of Athenry. And here come Athenry, and Rabbit once again. Jersey was pulled, given an advantage. In it goes. Still there's an opportunity presenting itself. Cathal Moran, the one who holds on too long, and it's going to be a free out for St Joseph's Doora-Barefield. Well, they were almost in the clear that time, and Cathal Moran seemed to have the chance as Joe Rabbit had played him clear. Change of sliotar for Christy O'Connor. That's a big long free by Christie. Dropped down there by Brian Higgins. Michael Crimmins had plenty of time to watch that one. Brendan Keogh now. Ollie Baker is challenging him. David Donoghue trying to go forward, leaving it for Joe Rabbit. Donoghue's in support as well. Here's Rabbit, held, dragged down. Referee still seems to allow an advantage. Well, there seemed to be a free there. I'm not sure that they'll get anything out of this. This time it's Joe Rabbit, and the Athenry fans are absolutely furious. They thought they should have had a free in there, and I have to say I agree with them. The referee seemed to allow play to continue, and nothing came of it. This is where he was trying to go through here, and he was dragged around. Down he went. Well, they're protesting that he was play acting and doing a bit of charging himself. Christy O'Connor with the free. Knocked away over there by John Feeney. Jamesy O'Connor trying to get it up onto the stick. Paul Hardiman there, the number 7. Feeney's number 4. And it's still Jamesy trying to beat David Hoey to this one. Inside towards Andrew Whelan, close to the end line. And appeals, and it's going to be a 65. In spite of the best efforts there of the back, Ger Hoey was doing his best to try and make the clearance, but stepped out over the end line, and the umpire was right on the spot.
John, come on.
So it gives another bit of work for Sean McMahon. 65 metres out, dropping, and it's over the bar again. He misses so few of these. That's a second point at 65. So 6 points in all for Sean McMahon. Any forward would be very happy with it, but they've all come from frees. Lovely change of direction there by Brendan Keogh. Jamesy O'Connor goes back to challenge. Back there as well. Putting in the challenge was Greg Baker. Touched ahead over there by Donald Moran. Moran once again for Athenry. Stopped, however, by Ken Kennedy. And Ollie Baker swings around a couple of times, and in the end gets a huge clearance downfield. Knocked outside there by Ger Hoey. Batted into the clear. Joe Considine still to score in the match. You might have credited him one in the first half. He hasn't scored, however. This is Brendan Keogh. He's gone down. Referee says play on. And again, this time Athenry will feel that they should have had a free. But Joe Considine strikes this one, and he hits it to the left. Joe, the midfielder, alongside Ollie Baker. And that is Brendan Keogh. Brendan, who played in the 1993 All-Ireland final here for Galway against Kilkenny. PJ Delaney's big day when he knocked in that late goal to effectively win it for Kilkenny, and seemed to get an elbow into the middle. Brendan Keogh back on the feet once again. Missed a really good goal opportunity last year. Won't want to be reminded of that. That was in the semi-final against today's opposition. Michael Crimmins pucking this one out towards Joe Rabbit once again. Another fine catch by Joe Rabbit. Well, he was trying to locate Cathal Moran. Moran has switched corners, gone to the left, and stopped by Christy O'Connor, and a couple of colleagues there waiting for it. Sean McMahon's one of them. Hand passed outside just beyond Ollie Baker. Athenry get it back again, and once more it's Joe Rabbit inside towards Pat Higgins, scoops it inside towards Eugene Cloonan, stopped by Christy O'Connor, and that's an unfair challenge by Eugene Cloonan, and it'll be a free out for the Clare champions. And a quiet word by the referee to Eugene Cloonan, coming in here and really dragging down the goalkeeper. No attempt made to do a fair shoulder-to-shoulder charge. Christy O'Connor taking the free himself. David Hoey's under it. Ger Hoey's there as well. on the right-hand side of the Athenry defence. Paul Hardiman blocked on his way out there by Kieran O'Neill and also by Noel Brodie. So who's to take the Tommy Moore Cup, the first major prize really of the new millennium in hurling? Joe Rabbit, stopped by Christy O'Connor, aware that most of his colleagues were being marked and marked tightly. Ollie Baker having a lot of work to do to beat Brendan Keogh. Keogh gets it down. Pat Higgins racing across there. Over there as well, you can see David Donoghue, and Donoghue has it. Pat Higgins chases after it. It's won back, however. The counter-attack by St Joseph's Doora-Barefield, but this time Brian Hanley taking it back once again with great conviction. A huge one down, and that time not much question about the dragging down. It's done by Pat Higgins, and it's going to be a free out for Doora-Barefield. All eyes, great concentration, and not much doubt about the decision. So just a point between these teams. Here comes Brian Feeney. Only 3 points scored in the second half so far. Donald Moran trying to do something about that. Coming out to meet him was Donald Cahill. Getting a bit of assistance, however. That's Eamon Keogh having dispensed the yellow helmet. Hanley, challenged by Jamesy O'Connor. Ollie Baker. Jamesy trying to pick it up, won't come up for him first time. Rabbit, good little hook, did just enough on that. Gave the backs a chance. Greg Baker. About to be challenged by John Feeney, and a very good block down. Brian Hanley for Athenry. Back once again to John Feeney. Again, they try to get that ball past this very strong half-back line. David Howie, Sean McMahon and Dara O'Driscoll. Good ball inside to Cloonan this time, going low to pick it up. Trying to get away from his marker is Donald Cahill. A scoring chance for Eugene Cloonan, and he puts it over the bar. The mark of a real quality player, under an awful lot of pressure. It's just his first point from play in the match, but it's the 6th in all. But it was a clever ball inside to him, giving him a chance, and Athenry lead by 2. He's always found Donald Cahill difficult to shake off, but the correct ball was given into him. He was just caught as he hit that ball over the bar, but he did enough. Are Athenry to win back the title they last held in 1997? There's still very little between the teams. Both sides, you can be sure, will give it absolutely everything for the full 60 minutes. And we're just now about 12.5 minutes into the second half. Running repairs obviously carried out on Ollie Baker at half-time, so he's stepping up to take the sideline cut, and it's going to the right. Ollie moving back into midfield alongside Joe Considine. Neither of them had scored so far in the game. Michael Crimmins here, widely regarded now as one of the top netminders, if not the top netminder in Galway. That's Cahill rising up there well, difficult one to bat away, getting assistance from Paul Hardiman, and again the ball is swept out of defence. At the other end it's Andrew Whelan, and Andrew Whelan has put this one over the bar. A move all started by Dara O'Driscoll, and 12 points to 11. Here comes Andrew Whelan once again, taking his chance on the run. The referee, I think, is noting that we're going to have a change, and a sub is coming on for the St Joseph's Doora-Barefield team. Just interested to see who's making their way off. It seems to be Noel Brodie, and the man coming on is Colm Mullen. He's got a very busy weekend, Colm. He's going into full forward right now. Kieran O'Neill is coming out to right half forward. But the substitute will be playing at under-21 level for the Clare footballers tomorrow in the Munster Championship against Cork at Kilmallock. Dropped in there. Once again it's Andrew Whelan out towards Kieran O'Neill. A bit of a block on it, but he put it wide in any case, even though he protests that it was the back who touched it last. No, 65. So there's Noel Brodie, who has just left the field for St Joseph's Doora-Barefield. And it looks like there's going to be another change, this time for Athenry. Of course, we'll just have a little look around. It's Cathal Moore who's been taken off. They're moving Donal Moran into left corner forward. As we just note that the player who's come on is Aidan Poniard. He played in the semi-final and that's gone wide. So two number 17s coming on for the respective clubs. Colin Mullen has come on for St Joseph's and Aidan Poniard has come on as a substitute for Cathal Moran. So the game at its three-quarters point. Kieran O'Neill is beaten for this one by John Feeney. Craig Baker trying to go through, stopped however back there. Good defending by Ger Hoey. St Joseph's building once again. Kieran O'Neill dropping it in, but he's put it to the right and he's put it wide. This was the man, of course, who was part of the Clare team. That's the player we saw just a moment ago there, Kieran O'Neill, playing on the Clare successful 92 Munster Championship winning team in football against Kerry. If I remember it correctly, he was I think he was left half back that day. Michael Crimmins pucking this one out. Again, aiming it down towards Joe Rabbit. Again, he makes headway. Donald Donoghue, a very awkward angle. His first point of the match. Set up from again by Joe Rabbit. And David Donoghue gets his first of the afternoon. And Athenry lead by 2 points. Well, it was an almost impossible angle. Brilliantly done, however, by Donoghue. Well, St Joseph's trying to get their game going once again in the attack. Ollie Baker collides that time with the stick of Brendan Keogh. Keogh's stick is broken. Here's Donoghue once again. He's got another scoring chance. And he might just have made that one. Seemed easier than the one he put over the bar. Been marked by Ken Kennedy, David Donoghue. And Kennedy has given him a bit of latitude now in the last couple of minutes. Greg Baker coming out here. He's wrestled to the ground. And that'll be a free in. Brian Feeney, the player, who dragged him. Brian was a very experienced player at this stage. Probably Galway's first choice fullback for the season ahead. As James O'Connor strikes this one, and he's put it wide. There have been some misses now, quite a few, on the St Joseph's Doora-Barefield side, and the defending champions have a lot of work to do to get more and more into this match, and now with only about 12 minutes to go. That is Pat Nally there, the Mayo man, who is manager of Athenry. Great rivalry whenever a Clare and a Galway team meet in championship. Donald Cahill with the clearance. This is won back here by John Feeney. Good block by Noel Brodie. And James O'Connor's back helping. Spotting Lorcan Hassett. Inside towards Kieran O'Neill. This is one that Doora-Barefield need, but it drops into the waiting arms of Michael Crimmins. and there's a Doora-Barefield player on the ground. The umpires, if there was a foul, should have seen it. They're not motioning to the referee in any case. Eugene Cloonan strikes this, and Eugene Cloonan has put it to the right, and he's put it wide. This young lady seems to be enjoying her afternoon at Croke Park. And now the medical people have gone in to attend to the injured Doora-Barefield player. Looks to be Andrew Whelan. He went into the match with hamstring worry, and he looks in a lot of distress. Very, very doubtful if he's going to be able to continue. He looks in a lot of pain. Oh, there are other options. Let's see what happened here. Did he just... Yeah, he turned awkwardly. Turned very awkwardly. There was no foul whatsoever. He just turned very, very awkwardly. So the stretcher is brought out. Again, Andrew Whelan was racing in after this one. Nobody made contact with him. Seemed to jab his foot into the turf and twist his knee. So there's going to be a change, and Andrew Whelan is forced off, and Fergal O'Sullivan is coming off. So Fergal going straight in at top of the left. Another player with lots of championship experience. And a sympathetic round of applause as Andrew Whelan is stretchered away. So the stricken corner forward is carried away to the dressing room area. Meanwhile, the action continues fast and furious as Pat Higgins tries to raid. Having difficulty going by, however. David Hoey is back there. It's Higgins once again, inside here towards Foneyard. And that's beautifully taken up there by Ger Hoey. Waiting for it to come down, Brian Hanley. There's plenty of assistance there as well to support him. Eamon Keogh was there. And Higgins misses it completely. Donal Cahill coming out, the fullback, requiring some assistance, getting it from Ken Kennedy. Big clearance downfield. Eamon Keogh leaving it this time to Brian Feeney. And knocked out over the sideline. So possession once again for St Mary's from Athenry. The Battle of the Saints, St Mary's against St Joseph's on St Patrick's Day. 8 minutes left. Cloonan, ever the danger man, waiting inside there, always marked by Donal Cahill. Cut up by Hanley, and he made a lovely connection but couldn't quite direct it. Joe Rabbit was coming in raiding there. I think he feels that somebody was holding him back. Eugene Cloonan is also getting angry about it. Referee stepping in. Ken Kennedy and Eugene Cloonan had some angry words. The umpire had a decent look at that. Rabbit was coming in chasing after that sideline cut. Michael Wadding trying to catch up with Joe Rabbit. He's a fast man, the Rabbit. Joe Rabbit there, and the man number 6, Sean McMahon. Two well-known inter-county players. Here they are coming in chasing after that ball, and both ending on the ground. All part of the heat of battle after you've trained for the best part of 2 years in the case of St Joseph's Doora-Barefield without a break. And of course Athenry have put in such a big effort, the prize that all club hurlers want to win following their own county title. Here's Pat Higgins, he's got support inside. Here's Eugene Cloonan, a shoulder, still Cloonan, and he kicks it and he puts it over the bar. Good awareness by Eugene Cloonan that he might well have been blocked or hooked. He's got 7 points in this final. Pat Higgins hand passed that ball. He had Donal Moran in support as well. He didn't need him. It was Cloonan who opted to kick and scored. Obviously got a hefty blow after all of that as Higgins played it inside. Keep your eye on the number 14 racing in beyond the cover. They came out to challenge. Ken Kennedy and the goalkeeper came in there as well, but he managed to get it over the bar. Well, the fields of Athenry are to be heard now, because Athenry lead by 3 and only 6 minutes to go in the All-Ireland Club Final. The fans from County Galway will feel that they have one hand almost on the Tommy Moore Cup, but there's still time, and St. Joseph's are the All-Ireland defending champions and a very good team. And if they can up their game for the remaining minutes of this match, they have the stars. Athenry have their own stars. Pat Nally walking up and down there, the Athenry manager. John Finney leaving the ball there, waiting for Eamon Keogh to come and strike. Eamon is a quantity surveyor and very much one of the best backs in club hurling. Stopped over there by the substitute, Colin Mullen. So it's going to be another sideline ball. This time Brian Hanley fancying his chances. Trying to pick the nicest piece of grass he can find. Good ball down. Still they come forward here. Eugene Clunan trying to stop it. The goalkeeper Christy O'Connor was coming out, but David Donoghue's effort was off target. Well, the clock showing just about 4 minutes to go. James O'Connor challenged by Paul Hardyman. Aidan Poniard was there as well for Athenry. Hardyman playing it into the centre. Brendan Keogh, 3 men alongside him for company. Hanley couldn't hold it. The challenge coming in, however, from Sean McMahon. Greg Baker runs on towards Kieran O'Neill. The challenge by Brian Feeney, trying to keep him at bay. Good block down that time. Great block indeed. Excellent work by Brian Higgins. Eugene Clunan has lost the stick. He's already kicked the point. He was trying to make contact. Well, how did he get the ball up off the ground there? That's what they'll wonder. As Donald Moore tries to go through, and Donald Moore has won himself and his team a penalty. He was right on the edge of the large rectangle. Now, was he inside? This is Moran taking lots and lots of steps trying to get away, dragged down, made the most of it, got inside the large rectangle, and Athenry have a penalty. Now, will they go for a goal here, or will they opt for a point? Leading by 3. And Eugene Clunan, their regular penalty taker, is coming to strike this one. Christy O'Connor, the sports journalist, with 2 men on the goal line. One of them Sean McMahon, the other seems to be Ken Kennedy. This critical moment in the All-Ireland Club Final. 3 minutes left. Eugene Clunan strikes, he puts it over the bar. Probably a very wise decision. It means he's got 8 points. It means Athenry have a 4-point lead. And not a great deal of time left for St. Joseph's to make up the leeway. The puck out towards Jamesy O'Connor, runs on to Sean McMahon, who's now up in the forward line, pulled down by his opposite number, the other number 6, Brian Feeney. Free, and this to put a goal between them. We could still have a very gripping finish to this match. Jamesy belting it over the bar. His 3rd point. 2 from play, now 1 from free there, and it's 15-12. But just about a minute and a half to go, plus a bit of stoppage time. There was that injury there to Andrew Whelan. So it wouldn't surprise if the referee played 2 to 3 minutes more. Michael Crimmon's puck out. It's a huge one. It's well directed towards Rabbit again. And another huge catch. What a performance. Taking these balls down from the puck out. Can't make much headway this time, however. Fergal O'Sullivan was back to try and deny him. St. Joseph's get it out as far as David Hoey, but it's won back by Brendan Keogh. Back in there, but the full-back leaves it behind. Donald Cahill gets assistance, however. Going forward without the stick was Donald Moran. And here comes Eugene Cloonan. And that's over the bar. Another great rallying point by Eugene Cloonan. Chance seemed to have gone away. And Athenry maintained that 4-point advantage. This was a lovely turn by Eugene Cloonan. Beat the attempted block. Great score. But now it's up to St. Joseph to see if they can get a goal and give them a little bit of hope. Defiantly back out again by Athenry. Again, it's Donald Moran having a good second half. And that one just carrying a couple of yards to the right. We're in injury time. Are St. Joseph's Doora-Barefield about to give up their All-Ireland title, won last year? Are Athenry about to win it back? That's Joe Considine there trying to get it inside, and Ollie Baker and Joe Rabbit. Rabbit's gone down injured once again. Here comes another substitute for Athenry. Pascal Healy has come in. What's the challenge here once again? Baker was coming in and poof! It threatened to get very nasty. No great love lost, you get the feeling. Passions have been rising the whole time. And the greatest of rivals between Clare and Galway, although these particular clubs have not met all that terribly often, and indeed only once in competition. That was last year. Doora-Barefield won then. Are Athenry about to win now? Eugene Cloonan, without the helmet, has come to midfield to hit this free. Where does it land? He looks at it, they watch, but it's gone to the right. Still 4 points between them. Cloonan's back around his own half-back line at this stage. Paul Hardiman coming to challenge Jamesy O'Connor. Hardiman has it. Jamesy O'Connor and Joe Considine there. The referee may decide to throw the ball in. Waiting for Paul Hardiman to get back on his feet once again. Ollie Baker and Brian Hanley arriving. Ollie trying to get it forward. Hanley trying to get it back. Just about holding his balance, maintaining control. Dara O'Driscoll dropped in there towards the full forward line. Played forward once again. Again, it's the substitute coming forward. And a great stop that time. Athenry doing really well. Late chances presenting, and it's a very good block down. Second chance, goalkeeper does really well. And that time the player who was denied was Colin Mullen, not once but twice. Patsy Fahy in there remonstrating as well, the number 19 who's come on in the last few minutes. There was Ollie Baker, there was the opportunity, and Mullen denied once, and this time it's the goalkeeper who gets down, just out of luck. Well, Athenry in no particular hurry, but they are awaiting the referee's whistle. They've made a late change. I think I told you about Pascal Healy coming in. He's in now. Over there in that group of players, indeed. Brendan Keogh. On a real pile-up of bodies, Joe Rabbit inevitably on his hands and knees. But he's made a major contribution for Athenry this afternoon. Again, the referee going to throw the ball in. Or is he? No, it's going to be a free to Doora-Barefield. Oh. Well, he really is feeling the frustration. You can see it there. Ollie Baker. One late chance perhaps, but they need 2 scores at least, and one of them has to be a goal, and that's just to level up the match. Donald Cahill back there. Taking it away from, it's Declan Higgins indeed who's come in. Aidan Poniard, great catch. Not much headway, however. Joe Considine, one of their stars last year, although forced off through injury. Brian Hanley, one of the real stars this year for Athenry. Christy O'Connor has a right good look at it. The amateur whistler is calling on the referee to blow up. He's played 4 minutes of injury time and it's all over. And Athenry, for the second time in their history, are club champions. They beat the defending champions St Joseph's Doora-Barefield, but it's the Saints, St Mary's from Athenry, who've won back the Tommy Moore Cup. And they win by 16 points to 12. It was a tough, hard-fought battle. Brendan Keogh there, who battled his heart out in midfield alongside Brian Hanley. But Athenry and indeed Galway Hurling will take a great deal of pride in this particular victory. They'll be looking forward now to picking up that cup, to returning to Galway. And I wonder what this win is going to do for Galway inter-county hurling in the year ahead. But some wonderful hurling in the match. Brian Higgins playing this ball down here into Eugene Cloonan. Cloonan taking it up beautifully, and a lovely score. An early point in the second half there. Later in the half, it was Cloonan going out once again, this way and that. And a nice point for Eugene Cloonan, who finished with a total of 9.
Joe Rabbit, captain of Athenry. Wonderful day for your club and parish.
Brilliant day for our club and parish. It's a day we were waiting for 3 years. And I suppose 13 months we were preparing from this since we got bet last year. Down in Thurles. So we're delighted today. We righted the situation, and that's what we wanted to do.
You did not get a very good start though, but you fought back brilliantly.
We didn't get a good start, but then again, you know, St Joseph's forwards only scored 2 points in play, so the rest were from frees. So like, we worked hard in Harrison and all that, you know. So
Joe Rabbit, you led by example. This must be your greatest sporting achievement.
It's my greatest sporting achievement to come to Croke Park with your club, lads that you're born and reared with, and I know for 20 years, and I know every drop of blood that's in them, and I'm delighted we lose that blood for 1 goal.
Well done, Joe Rabbit. Let's go back to Ger Canning.
Yes, and Marty, from one proud Galway man, Joe Rabbit, there's another, Eugene Cloonan, and of course the president of the association on his last big day here in Croke Park, presenting the prizes. He'll take a great deal of pride, proud Galway man that he is, presenting the Tommy Moore Cup to the captain of St Mary's from Athenry, who nowadays, you know, field 5 adult hurling teams. The senior panel clinched a 3rd Galway championship in 4 years last October, so they've been busy ever since. Their path to glory ending here with a 4-point win in the AIB All-Ireland Club Hurling Final in front of a very large crowd, certainly over 30,000 people here, and Joe McDonagh to make the presentation.
Sa cháirte fad. Ar ceann chum a luach le scéal fear an fíorchaoin fáilte roimh ar fad an seo, láil le páirigh seo na mílíse, agus fáilte ribh lech féchana agus éisteachta gael ar fud an domhain. Ag deireadh seachtaine agus ag créimh le bhí cheannis AIB. Déanamid cóghárteach a socraí le gá an club, gá an chumá agus a chonig mar an seo I barcin crochaí riamh ag leithí cheannis amána AIB na héireann. Cóghárteach a socraí le cumann Naomh Joseph agus le cumann Naomh Mhuire éisteacht an sár chluife a chuireadar ar fáil dúin. Ach dá nui is lá speisialta é seo donna buaiteoirí. An dara créimh buaite acu in san óchadaí. Cóghárteach a speisialta le cumann Naomh Mhuire bailáthan rí. Bavalion, buíochas chum an luach le scéal a chur inniual, de bhancéint a séireann AIB agus fáiltíim ribh banisteoir generálta Hugh Cawley an seo ar an ardán le Maneamh. Buíochas ó chríolah a socht mhór noíocht do chréimh le bhí ceannis na glob im Líana. Bavalion, buíochas ó chríoch a bháil leis an moltóir Michael Wadding agus na Mair. Agus mar sin, Im Líon seo na mílíse, Brunim Curran Tommy Moore, don dara blian san nóchadaí, don dara hóir san nóchadaí, agus seo Coyne na Mílíse captain Huachach Athenry, Joe Rabbit.
So in Millennium Year, the first major prize, the club championship, is won by St Mary's from Athenry, and Joe Rabbit there to take the Tommymore Cup. So they are the champions. Congratulations to them, and we'll have the football coming up very shortly.
Thanks very much, Michael. Yeah, I know in the first half we were being hurled off the field basically, but we had great hunger to hang in there, and a few great points from this man here beside me kept us in it. And once we opened up in the second half, I knew we'd do it, you know.
Well, looking at that first half again, as you said yourself, you could have been well beaten at half-time. It could have actually been all over.
Yeah, Shawnee Mack was hitting over frees there every second minute, you know, and I don't know how far they pulled ahead, and it was looking very bad. But it could have really been over at half-time. We could have been 10 points down, and we couldn't have complained, and that would be a terrible deficit to come back from, you know. But it was great to go in level. It gave us a real boost that we'd hurled so badly, and that we were going in on level pegging against such a great team as Doora-Barefield.
You mentioned the points scored by the man standing beside you here. You had a tremendous first half performance when Athenry badly needed it, Brian Hanley.
A lot for goes on to look, I think. I don't know.
It looked good.
It looked good. That was just things went well for me. I had 3 shots and three of them went over. You know, another days the 3 of them hit the corner flag. You know, just one of those things. But as Brian said, when Doora-Barefield opened us up, they didn't really open us up, I suppose, but they took their frees well, and we were going over it fast. You know, and we were just lucky. At half time, going in level was a bonus, really. You know.
Okay, so what did Pat Nally then and PJ and the lads say to you at half time?
They hadn't too much to say because we were thankful to be level at half time, you know, and it's easy to pick yourself up from probably we thought we should have been a bit down, you know, but it was easy to pick ourselves up.
Gentlemen, I know that you're very anxious to get into that victorious dressing room. I know you want to rush. Brian and Brian, thank you very much indeed. Let's go back outside.